What do you think is the cause of the supposed male loneliness epidemic? I think the loneliness is hitting everyone, and the main causes are spending too much time online. I was talking with a friend the other day, and we started talking about how at one time, you had to try to entertain. Video streaming. You could watch TV which was mostly shit, especially if you didn't have cable. Or you had to find some other way to be entertained, which usually meant spending time with other people. Now, you could not leave the house for days and not be bored once. Before the internet, women were limited on men within their social circles. Now the whole city is up for grabs. The standard guys need to uphold are very high now, and they aren't allowed to skip a day. Men compound it on themselves as well. Escapism is far too satisfying now, be it video games, movies, hobbies, and it's only going to get worse with the creation of AI companions, XOB. Workplaces used to be a big place for couples to meet, but men are afraid now to even approach women with risk of accusations. The societal expectation of men to suppress their emotions and glorifying the silent loner archetype mixed with the societal changes of less human interaction and a more online focus. Cali culture hasn't caught up with the reality of the world. Cultural expectations for masculinity are not adjusted to how the world and our society has changed, which leaves many men feeling isolated. Combine that with a general global increase of loneliness for everyone, regardless of gender, and the problem gets worse. As a woman, I enjoy being alone because you have to be empowered and financially independent and child-free. Things women historically haven't been. Being able to be alone without being lonely is a learned skill. I see my alone time as a precious gift. And I only share my time and space with people that add to my peace and bring value. There are so many lonely men out there that desperately want to be in and stay in my space. Hard to find the secure ones who respect it and have their own. Who people to be with women because women didn't have bank accounts. Now that's changed, but many men are still not raised with the kindness and social skills it takes for women to want to be with them. Also, the internet makes people lonelier because they literally don't have to interact anymore. And male friendship often suffers from toxic masculinity, where you don't talk about your emotions and end up lonely with no one knowing how you really feel. It's always a thing men have for options: bars, work, gay friends, or general isolation while loyal to old friends that return occasionally. DTW in 24 now. But when I was 18 alone in the city making friends, mostly ended up with losers who would sooner explore homosexuality than be a decent person. You know, elephant males often group up as young adults and then break off to form families. I wonder what weird shit goes in to make elephants want to leave their male-themed groups too. In a pretty rural part of the UK, there were pretty much no jobs there, so after school everyone left, went to uni in different parts of the country, and then found jobs somewhere near their uni towns. We all still talk in the group chat pretty much every day, but we don't live near each other anymore. So come Friday night we can't all go out anymore. It's kind of an odd situation, where you can have friends but have no social life. Some years ago, women were dependent on men, so they would date and marry men even if they didn't like them. But now that women have more rights and opportunities, they don't need men. Studies have shown that women are much happier being single than in a relationship. So men being lonely is actually a sign of something good, that women don't want to be in toxic relationships anymore. This whole male loneliness epidemic should be seen as something positive. To follow the traditional patriarchal social structure without a consensus replacement has left generations of men unable to find a satisfactory role in modern society. Her self-isolation out of a sense of self-preservation, we avoid relationships because we don't anymore know what is expected of us or how to successfully navigate this aspect of the human experience. Men aren't taught to build long-lasting friendships like women are. We aren't taught to support each other as broadly as women are. There's the traditional stigma and persistent toxic masculinity that make our relationships between each other more competitive and isolating. Many of us don't know how to care or love ourselves. I think these factors and others result in men being dependent on romantic partners for vulnerability, validation, and support. I don't want to cause a row or be a stupid man, and it's just anecdotal evidence. My female friends have expectations on their men which they cannot meet themselves. They are frustrated, and always when I meet them they tell me how much they hate men. The male friends gave up or are under the command of their wives which treat them like children. I think the expectations of each other are so fucked up, and no one is willing to compromise. Women realize we'd rather be by ourselves than deal with children who aren't emotionally available and weaponize incompetence to get out of doing adult chores. I'm saying this as a married woman, so don't come at me calling me a single cat lady. Nothing wrong with cats, cute. My husband is a competent man, but if he wasn't, I'd rather be by myself than deal with the stuff these other poor women deal with. Homophobia. Look at all the comments equating loneliness to not getting dates. They're not the same thing. Several years ago, another dad reached out to me after reading my work about being a stay-at-home dad. He was married, had two toddlers, and was not coping well. He couldn't find another person to talk to outside his family. This isn't a one-size-fits-all, and I know there's many more factors here. But if you're told all your life you can't have any emotional intimacy outside of the bedroom, you wouldn't be lonely as hell. Dear man, men don't cry, suck it up. Fake men aren't even taught how to have friendships that aren't superficial. Putting all your emotional needs onto having a girlfriend spouse can't be healthy for anyone involved. Many things added up. Men are constantly encouraged to not cry but instead be angry, leading to strained relationships. AI dating simulators leading to not real options. Media making unrealistic standards for partners. Media also romanticizing toxic behaviors. Porn making unrealistic sex standards. Porn also desensitizing people to normal sex. Overall depression is on the rise, so that can't help. A third of young women are single, while half of men the same age are single. How can this be? Women are more likely to date up an age bracket. Maybe older men who have their lives put together seem like a better catch with today's race standards. Older men often prefer to date younger women, which is nothing new. But the onset of online dating has given these men a relatively non-creepy way to shoot their shot. I suppose, when they leave school etc., they all drift apart, need to ring their old mates up and make arrangements to meet weekly ... Or if divorced etc., they need to join some club for a singles club, or even fishing clubs etc., and forget silly online dating. Ask people out at work or people they know or see around their area on trains, bus stops etc. if they want partners etc. I think it's cute that you're skeptical and put little quotations around the real thing. Anyways, blaming porn and dating apps is the low IQ answer. Really, it's just that there are more men now than ever in history. It's just Darwinism taking its course. You're only hearing about it all the time because of the internet. The unwanted won't survive. We used to just die in wars. Tangential, asking in all seriousness, why did you choose to include the term supposed in your query? That's suggestive of a lack of belief that said circumstance is actually occurring, as if affected men or reporting institutions are somehow manufacturing a false narrative. Just curious ... I agree in whole or part with many of the responses otherwise. Women cherish, value and acquire skills for relationships with others mostly always. Men, on the other hand, don't really bother too much. The amount of men I've heard say that they think women are stupid for wasting time spending time with friends and they men are better by pursuing their own goals. Honestly, with that mentality, men deserve to be alone as lepers. Biggest change is that women have joined the workforce and don't need men to be providers. That's a good thing. But it's a huge shift from thousands of years of men being expected to be providers, so it's gonna take some time to adapt to ... Economic insecurity is another one. Individuals can barely take care of themselves, let alone in sulfur monoxide or a family. Low-quality women are more prevalent, less incentive for males to aspire to greater social status, income, etc. Most men struggle to see the modern woman as something worth dying for, which is a historical first, as men have always given their lives to protecting and providing for women. It can be summed up essentially as the juice ain't worth the squeeze. There are so many more pitfalls to seeking out female companionship than there were before. Trying to approach women you don't know is extremely difficult to do properly. Rarely do women approach men that are not in the top 10. The third space is becoming smaller and smaller, and you have to be one of the best options there to even have a chance. I think men throughout human history have struggled with loneliness. I really don't think it's anything new, and suggesting it's some brand new phenomenon is just not true. There are stereotypes going back generations about the lonely man drinking on his own. This is nothing new. It's just people didn't have the internet to talk about it back then. The hoflation definitely plays a part. It's easier for women to sleep around. Women can sleep around with high-value men because men don't care who they sleep around with. Those women then think they will get men like that even though the number of them is so low. Thus they don't look at guys worse than that, which is the vast majority. I've been a natural loner my entire life. I have dozens of friends I hang out with regularly, but I get tired seeing that often. To me, it's about finding peace in a quiet place and just observing insects, animals going about their days. There's a level of escapism that even movies and games don't offer when animal watching.